eyes were full of tears. When I got home, the house was empty. Of course it was empty. They were together. I walked through the rooms. Our living room with our wedding photos on the wall. Our kitchen where we cooked together. Every part of the house was a memory. And every memory was a lie. I could not stay there. I got back in my car. I drove to my parents' house. It was 2 hours away. I did not call them. I just drove. I cried the whole way. I cried for my broken heart. I cried for my lost trust. I cried for the sister I thought I had. I cried for the husband I thought.
Yes, bro. Okay. $3.50 if you buy them for 50 cents each.
Okay.
I think the bag is cheaper.
Switch to my second nature.
Let's go look at it anyway. Okay. Unless you got plans.
My name is Daniela, and I want to tell you my story.
Oh, I heard Daniela.
I live in a small town called Brighton
Yes.
Bay,
Right.
not far from New York City.
The first one.
Yeah.
It's quiet here, with calm streets, cozy cafes, and the sound of waves always nearby.
I think the bag is cheaper.
I'm 29 years old, and I work as a receptionist at a small hotel near the beach. Life was simple.
It is 29
Some
cents
might
a
say
pound
boring,
for yellow
but I
onions.
liked it. I had a few close friends, a small apartment, and a routine that felt safe. I wasn't looking for love. After a few bad relationships in the past, I told myself that it was better to stay alone. But sometimes, life brings someone into your world when you least expect it. That person was Michael. I work as a receptionist. Michael came to the hotel for a business trip. He looked different from the usual guests, calm, polite, and a little tired. He had soft eyes, a gentle smile, and a quiet way of speaking. When he asked for a room, I helped him check in, and he thanked me in a way that felt personal. I noticed the way he looked at me, not in a bad way, just kind. I smiled back without even meaning to. The next morning, he came down to the lobby and asked for directions around town. I told him where to get the best coffee, where the beach was nice and quiet, and which seafood restaurant
What I'm saying
locals
is we don't
liked
need
best.
onions.
Yeah.
Okay.
He listened to me carefully, really listened, and I liked that. Most people don't. After that, we started talking more. He stayed for 2 weeks. Every evening when his work was done, he would come to the lobby and we would chat. Some days we walked along the beach. Other times we sat on a bench near the lighthouse. We talked about life, books, music, dreams. He told me about the stress of his job in the city. I told him about my quiet life here. I felt comfortable with him. I felt seen. One night we were walking by the water. The stars were out and the breeze was soft. He turned to me and said, "Being with you feels like peace." Those words stayed in my heart. I think I started falling for him that night. When his 2 weeks were over, he left Brighton Bay, but we kept in touch. Every day he sent me messages. Every night we talked on the phone. We laughed. We shared stories. And I missed him more than I thought I would. A month later, he came back. This time, he didn't stay at the hotel. He rented a small house near the harbor and asked me to visit. We made dinner together. We listened to music and danced in the kitchen. It felt like we had been together for a long time. I felt lucky.
Oh, look, they got 10 for 98
But then
cents.
one
2
evening,
cents cheaper.
something
We don't have to go to
changed.
Presidente.
We were sitting on the
Rice,
couch, drinking tea, and he looked
I know, I'm just
serious.
saying it.
He took a breath and said, "Daniela,
Let's go to Presidente anyway to
I
check
need
the
to
rice.
tell you something." I looked at him.
Oh, Publix
My
selling
heart started to beat
my
faster. "I'm married," he said, looking at the floor. "I have 2 children." My body froze. I couldn't speak. My hands felt cold. I looked away. "I didn't mean to hide it," he said. "I didn't expect to meet you, but my marriage is not good. We live in the same house, but it's not love anymore. I stay for the children. That's all." His voice was low. He sounded sad, but I couldn't say anything. My thoughts were all over the place. I stood up and walked outside. The air was cold, and I could hear the ocean waves. I felt like crying. He followed me out. "I understand if you don't want to see me again," he said. I nodded and walked home. That night, I couldn't sleep. My head was full of questions. Why didn't he tell me before? Why did this happen to me? But I also remembered the way he looked at me, the way he spoke, the way he made me feel safe. I was confused. I wanted to be angry, but I missed him. The next day, he sent me a message. "I'm sorry," it said, "but I miss you." I didn't reply. For days, I felt lost. I couldn't focus at work. I kept checking my phone. My heart and my mind were fighting. I told myself to forget him, but I couldn't. A week later, I saw him again. We met near the beach. I told him I felt hurt, that I didn't like being kept in the dark. He said he understood. He didn't try to excuse it. He only said, "I care about you." And then I stayed. I know it's wrong. I know many people will say I made a bad choice. I know I became the other woman. But at that time, I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe this was temporary, that maybe one day he would leave his wife, that maybe he would choose me. So we continued in secret. He visited Brighton Bay once or twice a month. He stayed in that little house. I went there after work. We ate together. We talked. Sometimes we watched old movies or just sat in silence. It felt real, but also like a dream that could end any time. We never went out together. We never held hands in public. No photos, no dates, no future plans. Just small moments in a quiet house. But in those moments, he made me feel special. He listened to me. He remembered the little things I said. He helped me cook, made me laugh, brought me books I mentioned once. He made me feel loved. Still, deep inside, I knew the truth. I was not his first choice. I was not part of his real life. I was something on the side, something easy, without problems. And yet, I didn't leave. Why? Because I loved how he made me feel. Because I believed him. Or maybe because I was afraid to be alone. Those quiet nights with him gave me something to hold on to. Even if it hurt, it was better than nothing. But slowly, things started to change inside me. I stopped smiling the way I used to. I waited for his messages more than I should. I made my schedule around his visits. I said no to friends. I stayed home, always waiting for him to call. My world became smaller. Just him and silence. Sometimes I stood on the beach and asked myself, is this love? Or am I just lost? And I would tell myself, wait, maybe one day things will be different. But the questions didn't stop. They grew louder. The weeks passed, and I stayed in that quiet world, waiting for Michael. I still loved him, but something inside me was changing. I started to feel tired, not just in my body, but in my heart. I was always waiting for a message, waiting for a visit, waiting for love that was only mine for a few hours at a time. Sometimes he came for a weekend. We stayed in the little house near the harbor. We talked, cooked, and held each other. But when he left, the house felt cold and empty. I looked around and saw only my things. He never left anything behind. No clothes, no photos, no sign that he had ever been there. It was like he lived two lives, and in one of them, I didn't exist. I tried to tell myself that love takes time. I believed he cared about me. Maybe he did. But he still went back to his wife, to his children, to the life where I did not belong. And I began to wonder, why do I let this happen? One night, after he left, I sat by the window and watched the rain fall. I asked myself, what am I doing with my life? I loved someone who could not give me a full heart. I was always second. I had dreams too, a home, a child, a man who would choose me every day. But instead, I had empty rooms and silent nights. I started to feel that I deserved more, but I was scared. I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want to feel lonely. Some part of me hoped he would change, that one day he would come to me and say, "I left. I'm here now, just for you." But that day never came. I spoke to my friend Nina, the only one who knew the truth. I told her how I felt, tired, sad, confused. "You deserve to be first, Daniela," she said. "You should be with someone who's proud to love you, someone who walks with you in the daylight, not just hides with you in the dark." Her words stayed with me. I started to notice how much I had changed. I didn't laugh like I used to. I didn't go out. I always checked my phone. I had stopped doing things I loved, reading by the sea, walking in the park, having dinner with friends. My world had become small, and I was the one who let it happen. One evening, Michael visited again. He smiled, brought flowers, kissed my forehead. He acted like everything was fine, but I was quiet. "What's wrong?" he asked. "I don't know if I can keep doing this," I said. He looked surprised. "Why now?" "Because I feel like I'm not living my own life," I said. "I'm living in your shadow. I wait for your visits, your calls, your words, but I'm always waiting. I want more. I need more." He sat down and said nothing for a while. Then he said, "I love you, Daniela. You know that. Then why don't you choose me?" I asked. He looked away. "It's not that easy. I have children, a family. And what am I?" I asked softly. "Just a secret?" He didn't answer. That night I cried again. Not because he was cruel. He wasn't. But because I finally saw the truth. He would never leave. Not for me. Not for anyone. After he left, I didn't message him. I didn't call. I needed time to think. I walked by the beach every morning before work. I let the wind touch my face. I watched the waves and thought about my life. What did I want? What made me happy? Slowly, I remembered the old me, the girl who loved long walks, coffee with friends, books by the fire. I missed her. I also thought about love. What does real love look like? Not just flowers and kisses, but someone who stands with you in the open. Someone who says, "You're mine," without fear. I didn't have that. Not with Michael. I started writing in a notebook every night. Just thoughts and feelings. It helped me understand what I wanted. And every page I filled made me a little stronger. Michael still sent messages. "I miss you. I'm thinking about you. Can I see you?" But I didn't answer. Not right away. I needed time. 1 week later, he showed up at my door. I was surprised, but I let him in. "I needed to see you," he said. "You've been quiet." "I've been thinking," I told him. He sat down. "About us?" "Yes," I said. "About everything." We talked for a long time. I told him how I felt about waiting, about being second, about losing myself. I can't keep doing this, I said. I love you. Maybe I always will, but I need a real life. I want to be with someone who can give me all of their heart, not just a part. He looked sad. I can't leave them, Daniela. I've tried to imagine it, but I can't do that to my children. I nodded. I understood. But I also understood something else. This was the end. I hope you find peace, I said. I hope we both do. He stood up. He hugged me. I'm sorry, he whispered. Then he left. And that was the last time I saw him. That night I cried again, but it felt different. The pain was real, but it was also clean, like a deep breath after holding it too long. The next morning, I walked down to the sea. I stood there for a long time, just watching the waves. The sky was clear. The wind was soft. I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Calm. I knew healing would take time, but I also knew I had taken the first step. For the first time in a long time, I was not waiting for a message. I was not checking my phone. I was just standing there with myself. And that was enough. For now. Months passed after I said goodbye to Michael. At first, the days felt long and heavy. I missed him. I missed the way he smiled, the way he held me, the small things we used to share. Some mornings I wanted to call him. Some nights I cried in bed, holding my pillow close, remembering the sound of his voice. But slowly, things began to change. I started spending more time with my friends again. Nina invited me for coffee every weekend. We talked and laughed. Sometimes we sat in silence, just enjoying each other's company. It felt good to be around people who loved me for me, with no secrets, no lies. I also returned to the things I once enjoyed. I began reading again, soft stories, quiet ones, about love and hope. I walked on the beach every evening. I watched the sunset and listened to the sound of the waves. The sea always made me feel calm. It reminded me that life moves forward, no matter what happens. I also started working on my goals. I took a small class at the community center, something simple about writing stories. I didn't tell many people about it. I just wanted to try something for myself. Each week, I wrote a few pages about my thoughts and dreams. It felt good to write. It helped me heal. One evening after class, I was walking home when I stopped by a bookstore near the corner. I hadn't been there in a long time. Inside, I saw a man looking at travel books. He smiled when he saw me, and I smiled back. He looked familiar, but I couldn't remember where I had seen him before. He walked over and said, "Hi. You're in the writing class, right?" I nodded. "Yes, I am." "I just joined last week," he said. "I'm David." We talked for a few minutes about the class, about books, about the cold weather. It was nothing special. but something about his voice made me feel at ease. The next week, he sat near me in class. After class, we walked together to the cafe across the street. We talked about simple things, family, work, favorite food. He was kind. He listened. And when I spoke, he looked into my eyes. I didn't feel nervous. I felt calm. We started meeting after class more often, sometimes for coffee, sometimes just a short walk. He didn't ask me about my past. He didn't push. He was patient. One evening, we sat near the beach on a wooden bench. The sky was orange and the air was cool. I looked at him and said, "Can I tell you something?" "Of course," he said. "I was in a relationship before. It wasn't good. He was married. I waited for him for a long time. I loved him, but I was always second. I don't want that kind of love again." He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Thank you for telling me. I think you're brave, and you deserve better." That night, I went home with a warm feeling in my chest. Not because I was falling in love, but because I felt understood. Weeks turned into months. David and I spent more time together. We went for walks, watched movies, and talked about our dreams. He never rushed me. He never asked for more than I could give. I started to smile more. I laughed without pain. I felt free. One day, I looked in the mirror and saw something I hadn't seen in a long time. Myself. Not the sad girl who waited for messages. Not the woman who cried alone at night. But Daniela, strong, gentle, and alive. David became a part of my life slowly, like the sun rising after a long night. He didn't try to fix me. He just stood beside me. And in his quiet way, he showed me what real love can look like. One evening, we were sitting in the park watching children play. "Do you ever want a family?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "One day, with the right person." I smiled. "Me too." We didn't need to say more. I knew now that love doesn't have to hurt. It doesn't have to be hidden or painful. Love should feel safe. It should feel like coming home. Looking back, I don't regret my past. It taught me important lessons. I learned that love without respect is not enough. That waiting for someone who cannot choose you will only bring pain. That no one else can give you peace. You have to find it inside yourself. And now, I have peace. I have hope. I have love. Not from someone who hides me, but from someone who walks beside me. If someone asked me today, was it worth it? I would say yes. Because through all the sadness, I found myself. And in finding myself, I opened the door to a new kind of love. A better one. One I truly deserve.
It's really happening.
Disney Pixar's Elio is now available
Allow me to adjust your gravity.
on Disney Plus.
This is awesome!
It's fun and full of heart and humor, and now everyone can watch it on Disney Plus.
I've always wanted a friend. Could you just call me a friend?
It's certified fresh and verified hot.
Follow me. These are the lava tunnels. It's actually kind of comfy in here.
My name is Emily, and I am from a small town in Philippines. I was only 19 years old when I got married to a man named David. He was kind to me in the beginning, and my parents thought he was a good man. He lived in the United States, and after the wedding, I was supposed to go with him. I was scared. I had never been far from home. I had never taken a plane, and I didn't speak much English. I cried a lot before I left. I didn't want to leave my family, especially my mother. She was everything to me. We talked every day, and she always helped me when I was sad. She cooked for me, made me laugh, and gave me warm hugs. I didn't know how I would live without her. Before we moved, David stayed with us in our house for 3 weeks. He was quiet and didn't talk much, but I thought maybe he was just shy. After those weeks, it was time to go. I packed my clothes and a few pictures of my family. My mother gave me a silver bracelet and said, "This is to remind you of me. Stay strong, my daughter." I hugged her tightly and cried so much. She was crying too. I had never seen her like that. Saying goodbye felt like someone was pulling my heart out. We took the flight to New York. The journey was long, and I felt sick. My eyes were red from crying, and my stomach hurt. David didn't talk to me much on the plane. He looked out the window most of the time. I felt very alone already. When we reached New York, it was cold and windy. It was winter, and snow was falling. I had never seen snow before. It was beautiful, but I could not enjoy it. I was too sad and scared. David's father came to the airport to pick us up. His name was Mr. Collins. He looked serious and didn't smile. His wife, Miss Collins, stayed at home to cook, David said. We arrived at their house in New Jersey. It was small, dark, and very quiet. I went to my room and sat on the bed. My heart was heavy. I missed my home already. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about my mother and father and my 2 younger brothers. I wanted to run back to them, but I couldn't. I was now a wife, and this was my new home. The next day, Mrs. Collins called me to the kitchen. She gave me a list of chores. Clean the living room, wash the dishes, cook rice, and don't be lazy, she said in a cold voice. I didn't understand everything, but I understood enough. I felt like a helper, not a daughter-in-law. I worked all day. My back hurt, and my hands were dry from the cold water. David didn't help. He just sat with his father, drank coffee, and watched TV. When I asked him if I could rest, he said, "My mom likes things clean. Try to do your best." Every day was the same. I woke up early, cleaned, cooked, and stayed quiet. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to speak up. I was too scared to make anyone angry. Mr. Collins had a loud voice, and he shouted, if I did something wrong. One time, I burned the rice, and he shouted so loudly that I cried in the bathroom for an hour. Weeks passed, and I started to feel more and more sad. I didn't laugh anymore. I didn't talk to anyone except David, and even he stopped listening to me. I missed my family so much. I wanted to call my mother, but David said the phone bill was too expensive. He told me I could call her once a month. I waited for that one call like it was gold. I cried when I heard her voice. I lied to her and said, "I'm fine, Mama. Everything is okay." But it wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. After 3 months, I found out I was pregnant. I was happy and scared at the same time. I thought maybe now things would get better. Maybe the family would be happy and David would love me more. But nothing changed. Mrs. Collins said, "Now you must work harder. A strong woman works even when she is pregnant." She gave me no rest. I worked with a heavy body and a tired heart. David still listened to his parents and never stood up for me. He didn't ask me how I felt. When I got sick in the mornings, he just said, "Take rest after the work is done." One day, I felt dizzy and almost fell in the kitchen. My hands were shaking and my head was spinning. I sat down on the floor and tears came to my eyes. I was so tired, so alone, and so scared. That night, I held my stomach and whispered to the baby, "You are not alone. I will protect you. I will be strong for you." The baby gave me hope. I started to dream about a better life. I wanted to learn English, get a job, and make money. I wanted to buy my own house where no one could shout at me. I didn't want to live under fear anymore. When the baby was born, it was a boy. I named him Ethan. He was beautiful, with big brown eyes and soft hair. I held him in my arms and felt strong for the first time. I thought, this is my son. I will protect him no matter what. But even after Ethan was born, things did not get better. I had to take care of him all alone. Mrs. Collins didn't help me. She said, "He is your baby, not mine." David went back to work a few weeks later, and I stayed at home with Ethan. I didn't sleep much. I didn't eat well, but I kept going. I told myself, one day this will change. One day I will have my own life. At night, I still cried sometimes. I looked at the silver bracelet from my mother and held it in my hand. I whispered, "I miss you, Mama. I hope you are okay. I will be strong. I promise." The first year with Ethan was the hardest. I was always tired. I woke up many times during the night to feed him. In the morning, I still had to clean, cook, and do everything in the house. No one helped me. Sometimes I felt like I was not a person, just someone to work and stay quiet. Mrs. Collins never smiled at Ethan. She didn't want to hold him or play with him. She said, "Babies are noisy. Keep him quiet." Mr. Collins didn't say much. He just looked at me like I didn't belong. One night, Ethan was sick. He had a fever, and I didn't know what to do. I asked David to take us to the doctor, but he was watching a movie. He said, "He will be fine. Just give him water." I was scared. I held Ethan in my arms and cried. I stayed awake all night and prayed he would feel better. I missed my mother more than ever. I wanted to hear her voice, but it was not time for my monthly call. I sat in the dark with Ethan and whispered, "I love you, Mama. I need you." After that night, I decided something. I needed to be stronger. I could not wait for someone to save me. I had to save myself. I had to do something for me and my son. I looked in the mirror and said, "You are a mother now. You must fight." I started to look for ways to learn English. I found a small community center near our home that gave free English classes. I told David I wanted to go. At first he said no. "You're too busy," he said. But I didn't stop asking. After many days, he finally agreed, but only for 2 days a week. I was so happy. I went to class with other women like me, immigrants from different places, Mexico, India, Egypt, and more. I was shy at first, but I listened carefully. I learned how to say simple things like, "I need help," "I want water," and "My baby is sick." Every new word gave me power. The teacher, Miss Lisa, was kind. She always smiled and helped me when I didn't understand. She said, "You are smart, Emily. Keep going." Those words stayed in my heart. No one had called me smart in a long time. Slowly, I started to speak more English at home. David didn't care. He just said, "Do what you want." Mrs. Collins didn't like it. She said, "Why are you trying to be something you're not?" But I didn't stop. I was doing this for Ethan, for me, and for my future. After a few months, Miss Lisa told me there was a part-time job opening at a local bakery. I was nervous. I had never worked outside the house before. I asked David if I could try. He said, "You won't last 1 week." But I went anyway. The bakery was small, but warm and friendly. The owner, Miss P.'s Grace, was kind. She showed me how to serve coffee, bag bread, and speak with customers. My English was not perfect, but I smiled and tried my best. Many people were patient with me. I worked 3 hours a day while Ethan stayed with David or Mrs. Collins. I saved every dollar I earned. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I felt proud. I bought my own winter coat and a small toy for Ethan. Working gave me hope. I saw that life could be better. I started to dream again. I wanted to get a full-time job one day, maybe study something, and rent a small apartment for me and Ethan. I didn't want to live in fear anymore. But just when things were getting better, something bad happened. One evening, David came home late. He had been drinking. He walked into the house and started yelling. Ethan was sleeping, and I told him to be quiet, but he got angry. He shouted at me and pushed a chair. I was scared. I had never seen him like that before.
I ran to the bedroom and locked the door with Ethan in my arms. I sat on the floor, shaking. I knew then that I was not safe. Not for me, and not for my son. The next morning, I told Mrs. Collins what happened. She looked at me and said, "You made him angry. Maybe don't talk so much." I felt my heart break again. She didn't care. She never did. A week later, things got even worse. David and Mr. Collins were arguing about money. I stayed quiet in the kitchen, holding Ethan. Then Mr. Collins walked up to me and said, "You can leave if you don't like it here, but the boy stays." I froze. What did he mean? I said, "I'm his mother." He replied, "This is David's family. The boy stays with us." My legs felt weak. I thought I might fall. I said nothing and walked away. That night, I cried and held Ethan close to my chest. I whispered, "No one will take you away from me. I will never leave you." I called my mother that month and told her everything. I cried and cried. She cried too. She said, "Come back home, Emily. We will help you." But I couldn't leave. Not yet. I had no money, no place to go, and no way to take Ethan out of the country without David's permission. I was stuck. Still, I didn't give up. I kept going to work. I kept learning English. I saved more money, little by little. I watched videos, read simple books, and practiced speaking every day. Miss Lisa helped me fill out papers to apply for a legal residency card on my own. She said, "You're doing great, Emily. Don't stop now." At the bakery, Mrs. Grace offered me more hours. I started working 5 hours a day. I bought a second-hand phone with my own money and started talking to other women at work. I learned about support groups for women like me. For the first time, I started to feel stronger inside. I still lived in that house, and I still had to be careful. But I knew I was not the same girl who arrived in New Jersey 1 year ago. I was growing, learning, and getting ready. Every night, I held Ethan and whispered, "One day, we will have our own home. One day, you will smile every day. I promise." 2 years had passed since I first came to the United States. Life was still hard, but I was different now. I was not the quiet girl who cried alone every night. I was still afraid sometimes, but I had learned how to stay strong. I had a small voice, but I had started to use it. Ethan was now 2 years old. He could walk and say little words. He loved to laugh and run around. Every time he smiled, I felt like I could keep going. He was the light in my dark world. At the bakery, I had become one of the trusted workers. Mrs. Grace gave me more hours and even let me help with simple paperwork. I still didn't speak perfect English, but I had improved a lot. I could now speak to customers, ask questions, and understand most things. I also started meeting other women from different countries. Some of them had stories like mine, young mothers, living with people who didn't treat them well. We began to talk and share. one woman named Maria became my good friend. She told me, "You are not alone. You are doing better than you think." One day, she told me about a support group for women in my situation. They met every Saturday in a small room behind a local church. I was nervous, but I went. The room was full of women, some from Asia, some from Africa, some from South America. They were all strong in their own ways. A kind lady named Helen led the group. She spoke slowly and listened carefully. I told my story for the first time. I cried and my voice shook, but no one judged me. They nodded. They understood. After that, I went to the group every week. I started to feel stronger inside. Helen helped me find a free legal aid service. They told me my rights and helped me understand the law in the United States. They said, "No one can take your child away. You have the right to feel safe." That night, I thought about everything that had happened. The shouting, the cold looks, the fear, the silence. I asked myself, why do I still stay quiet around them? Why do I smile when I feel broken inside? Then, something inside me changed. I knew it was time. Not to run, but to move forward. With help from Helen and the legal aid group, I applied for a small apartment for low-income mothers. It was in a safe neighborhood, close to the bakery. I saved enough for the first month's rent. When the time came, I packed my things while David was at work. I took my clothes, Ethan's toys, and my mother's silver bracelet. Mrs. Collins was in the kitchen when I left. She didn't stop me. She just said, "You'll come back. You need us." But I knew I wouldn't come back. My new apartment was small, but it felt big to me. It had 2 rooms, clean walls, and a window that let the sunshine in. I laid a mat on the floor, placed a blanket for Ethan, and sat down. I cried. But this time, I cried because I was free. At first, it was not easy. I had to cook, clean, work, and take care of Ethan all by myself. But I was used to that. The difference was, now I had peace. No one shouted at me. No one made me feel small. In this space, I could breathe. One day, I got a letter from home. My mother had passed away. My heart broke all over again. I cried for days. I remembered how she told me to stay strong, how she gave me the bracelet, how she always believed in me. I felt guilty that I didn't visit her, that I didn't call her more. But then I remembered her. But then I remembered her voice. "Be brave, my daughter." I held Ethan close and whispered, "I'm sorry, Mama. I'm doing my best." After that, I promised myself something. I would live fully for my mother, for Ethan, and for me. Months passed. I continued working and saving. Ethan started going to a small daycare for a few hours while I worked. He made friends and learned new words. I watched him grow, and I felt proud. One day at the bakery, Mrs. Grace said, "You've come a long way, Emily. You should think about managing this place one day." I smiled. I still didn't believe I was that strong. But maybe I was. David tried to contact me a few times. He called and said, "Come back. Ethan needs his father." I said no. I was kind, but clear. "You had your chance. I'm doing what's best for us now." I still feel pain when I think about the past. I still cry sometimes, especially when I remember my mother. But I don't cry from fear anymore. I cry from healing, from remembering, from growing. Some days are still hard. But now when I wake up in the morning and see Ethan sleeping beside me, I smile. I get up, make tea, and start my day. This is our life now. Simple, honest, and ours. I am not rich. I don't have everything, but I have peace. I have freedom. I have a son who loves me. I have friends who support me. And I have myself. And that is enough. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.
You've grown your influencer program from 0 to 50 plus collaborations a month. That's amazing. But now your spreadsheet is breaking under pressure. Track and post links and deliverables are eating at your time. When you're ready to level up, Merilash gives you a live auto-updating campaign overview, including the actual influencer content, all on the same platform where you manage discovery, outreach, your influencer CRM, and more. Try it out for yourself for free.
My name is Hannah. I am 26 years old. I live in Manchester, a busy city in England. I work as a library assistant. I love books. I love quiet places. Every day I help people find stories. I put books back on the shelf. I fix old pages with tape. I like my job. It is calm, and I feel safe there. I do not have a big family. I live alone in a small flat. I have one best friend. Her name is Zoe. We met in college. We became friends right away. Zoe is fun and loud. I am quiet and shy, but we understand each other. For 7 years, we were always together. We went shopping. We watched sad movies. We laughed until we cried. She was more than a friend. She was like my sister. I trusted her with everything. One Saturday, Zoe and I went to a local charity event. It was in a park near the university. There were food stalls, music, and people helping the poor. We signed up to give out warm clothes. It was cold that day. While we were folding jackets, a man walked over to our table. He said he wanted to help too. His name was Daniel. He had soft brown eyes and dark hair. He smiled a lot. He was polite. His voice was warm. I felt something in my chest when I looked at him. We talked about music and books. I was nervous, but he made me feel safe. Zoe teased me after he left. "He likes you," she said with a big smile. I blushed. I didn't say anything, but in my heart, I hoped she was right. After that day, Daniel started texting me. He asked how my day was. He asked what I liked to read. We talked about movies, food, and dreams. I felt happy. Every message made me smile. One day, he came to the library. He said he wanted to borrow a book, but I knew he just wanted to see me. We talked for 1 hour near the window. He didn't care about time. Neither did I. A week later, he asked if I wanted to go for dinner. I said yes. Daniel was kind. He listened. He laughed at my silly jokes. He opened doors for me. He never rushed. I liked how he treated me. We went to parks, watched movies, ate noodles on cold nights. After 2 months, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes. I felt lucky. I thought, maybe this is love. I told Zoe everything. I showed her his messages. I told her about our dates. She smiled and said, "I'm happy for you." I believed her. Why would I not? One day, I invited Zoe to meet Daniel. We went to a small cafe together. The 3 of us sat at a table near the window. We laughed, drank tea, and shared cake. It felt nice. But something small bothered me. I saw Zoe look at Daniel when I spoke. Sometimes her smile lasted too long. Sometimes she laughed too hard. But I told myself not to worry. She was my best friend. She was just being friendly. I didn't want to ruin a good day with strange thoughts. So I stayed quiet. Weeks passed. Daniel changed a little. He didn't call every night like before. He said he was busy with work. When I sent him sweet messages, he sometimes replied late. I waited, thinking maybe he was just tired. But one night, I saw him online at 2 a.m. I had sent a message hours before. He hadn't answered. My heart felt cold. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. Something was not right. I could feel it, but I didn't want to believe it. The next weekend, Daniel left his phone on my kitchen table while he took a shower. I wasn't trying to snoop. I really wasn't. But when the phone lit up, I saw a name on the screen. It said Zoe. My chest got tight. My hands felt heavy. I told myself not to look, but I did. The message said, "Last night was perfect. I miss you already." My fingers began to shake. My heart beat fast and hard. I could not think. I could not move. I felt like the air left my body. Daniel came back into the room. I held the phone out and asked, "Why is Zoe saying this?" His smile disappeared. His eyes looked small. He took the phone and didn't answer. I asked again, "What is this, Daniel?" He said, "It's not what you think." But he didn't explain. He just stood there. I felt sick. I asked again, louder this time. He said, "She was upset that night. I was just talking to her. That's all." But the message said something else. I didn't believe him. He left soon after. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called Zoe. I said we needed to talk. She came over with a big smile and coffee in her hand, like nothing was wrong. I asked her, Are you seeing Daniel behind my back? She froze. Then she laughed and said, Of course not. We're just friends. Her voice was light, but her face was not. I looked in her eyes. I saw the truth, but she wouldn't say it. She just said, You're overthinking, Hannah. I didn't believe her. She left soon after. I cried when the door closed. 3 days later, I got a message from her. It was short. It said, I didn't want to tell you this, but Daniel and I have feelings. We didn't plan it. It just happened. I'm sorry. I read that message again and again. My hands went cold. My throat felt dry. I couldn't cry. I just stared at the wall. My best friend, my boyfriend, both of them, behind my back. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't believe it. I sat on the floor and hugged my knees. The pain was too big, too deep. I didn't eat that night. I didn't even drink water. I just sat there, feeling like my world was gone. The next day, I blocked both of them. I deleted every photo. I turned off my phone. I lay in bed for hours. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to stop thinking, but I couldn't. The same words stayed in my head. We didn't plan it, but they did. They chose it. They chose each other and left me with nothing. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. The days after that message felt like a storm inside my body. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I stayed in bed with the curtains closed. The light hurt my eyes. The silence in my flat was too loud. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. My chest felt heavy, like I was carrying a stone inside. Every time I thought of Zoe, I felt angry. Every time I thought of Daniel, I felt broken. I asked myself again and again, why did they do this to me? I had done nothing wrong. I loved them both. I trusted them. I gave them my heart, and they threw it away like it meant nothing. After 3 days, my boss called. She was kind. She said, "Take your time, Hannah. Come back when you feel ready." I said thank you, but my voice was low. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. Even my flat felt strange. The chair where Daniel once sat, the cups we drank from, the small plant Zoe gave me last winter, it all hurt now. Every part of my life had a memory. And now, all the memories felt poisoned. I turned off my phone for a week. I didn't want to see messages. I didn't want to know if they were together. I imagined it anyway. I saw them walking together. I saw Zoe holding his hand. I saw Daniel laughing at her jokes. I felt sick. I stood in the shower and cried. I sat on the kitchen floor and cried again. The pain came in waves. Some hours I felt strong. Some hours I felt like a ghost. One morning, I forced myself to walk outside. The air was cold. My legs felt weak, but I kept going. I walked past the small shop where Zoe and I once bought matching scarves. I crossed the street where Daniel kissed me for the first time. I looked down at the ground and kept walking. I found a quiet bench in the park and sat. I closed my eyes. I let the wind touch my face. I took slow breaths. For the first time in days, I felt a little calm. A woman with a small dog sat near me. The dog barked once and wagged its tail. I looked at it and smiled just a little. The woman said, "Are you okay, love?" Her voice was kind. I nodded but didn't speak. She looked at me and said, "Sometimes people hurt us, and we don't know why, but don't carry their pain. It's not yours." Her words touched something inside me. I didn't even know this woman, but in that moment, I felt less alone. That night, I opened my phone again. I had messages from friends. Some said, "Are you okay?" One said, "I heard what happened. I'm here if you want to talk." I didn't reply, but I read every word. It felt good to know someone still cared. I didn't tell anyone about the whole story yet. I didn't want to sound weak, but inside, I knew I needed help. I needed to speak. The next day, I called my old friend Layla. We had not talked much in the last year, but she was always kind. I said, "Can we meet?" She said yes right away. We met at a small tea shop near the old train station. She gave me a big hug and said, "Tell me everything." So I did. I told her about Daniel. I told her about Zoe. I told her how I found the message, how I cried for days, how I felt like I lost my whole world. Layla listened. She didn't stop me. She didn't say move on or forget them. She just said, "You didn't deserve that, Hannah, but I'm proud of you for standing up. You blocked them. That's strong." I felt something warm in my chest. I had felt weak all week. But maybe she was right. Maybe it was strong to walk away, even when it hurt. After that, I started doing small things. I cleaned my flat. I washed my sheets. I threw away the mug Daniel once used. I packed up the books Zoe gave me and left them outside for someone to take. I needed space. I needed air. Every time I let go of something that reminded me of them, I felt a little better. I also started writing. Not full sentences, just words. On a piece of paper, I wrote things like, betrayed, alone, still here, not broken. One day, I'll smile again. I didn't show anyone, but it helped me understand my own heart. I read the words out loud. My voice was shaky, but it felt real. One evening, I saw Daniel's photo on social media. I didn't click it, but I saw Zoe liked it. That was all I needed to see. I closed the app and deleted it again. I sat on my bed and took a deep breath. They made their choice, I whispered, and I will make mine. I made a new rule. No more thinking about the past after 9 p.m. No more checking old photos. No more wondering if they missed me. I turned on soft music before bed. I lit a candle. I started reading again, something I hadn't done since the breakup. I picked a romance book, even though I didn't believe in love at the moment. But the story felt safe. It reminded me that not all endings are sad. Some nights were still hard. I still cried sometimes, but the pain didn't control me like before. I began walking every morning before work. I started drinking more water. I even said yes when Layla invited me to a painting class. I didn't know how to paint, but I liked the feeling of trying something new. It made me feel alive. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. I was working at the library when a man came to return a book. He smiled and said, "You helped me last time. I found the perfect novel." His name was Aiden. He was gentle, with quiet eyes and a calm voice. I smiled back and said, "I'm glad you liked it." We talked for a few minutes. Then he left. I stood there, thinking about how easy that small talk felt. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I just felt okay. And that was new. That was good. I wasn't ready to fall in love again. Not yet. Maybe not for a long time. But I was ready to heal. I was ready to live again. Without fear. Without pain. A few months passed. The pain did not leave all at once, but it changed. It became smaller. It did not sit on my chest like a rock every morning. Some days were still hard. I woke up and thought about them, but I did not cry every night anymore. I could smile again. I could laugh again. The world was no longer dark. It had color again. I still worked at the library. I liked the quiet. I liked the books. I liked helping people. But now, I also helped myself. I started to take care of my heart. I drank more water. I ate good food. I walked every morning. I did not look at their photos anymore. I did not check their social media. I did not want to know what they were doing. I wanted peace. One morning, Aiden came back to the library. He was kind as always. He smiled and returned a book. He asked me if I had more to recommend. I gave him 2. One was a novel about second chances. He looked at it and said, "This feels right." I smiled and said, "I think you'll like it." Before he left, he asked, "Would you like to have coffee with me sometime?" My heart beat fast, but not with fear. I said, "Okay, I'd like that." We met on a rainy Thursday. The cafe was quiet. The lights were soft. We sat near the window and drank tea. He asked me about my favorite authors. I told him I liked stories that made me cry. He said, Me too. I like books that touch the heart. We talked about food, family, and silly things. We did not talk about love. We did not talk about the past. And that was fine. We were not ready for deep things.
You want to save it?
We just wanted to feel calm. After the tea, we walked through the park. It was the same park where I once sat alone. But this time, I was not crying. I was smiling. The rain had stopped. The wind was soft. I looked at Aiden and thought, this is nice. I feel safe. We met again 2 weeks later. He brought me a book. It was about travel. He said, you should see new places one day. I laughed. I said, maybe I will. We walked through the city. We bought warm pastries and sat on the steps of the museum. I told him about my favorite city, even though I had never been there. He said, one day you'll go. I believe it. Time moved slowly, but gently. Aiden and I did not fall in love fast, but we became close. He respected my space. He never asked too many questions. He never made me feel small. I liked that about him. He was soft, like a quiet song. One night, I got a message. It was from Zoe. My hands shook. I had not heard from her since the day she said sorry. I opened the message. It said, I miss you. Not a day passes when I don't think about what I did. I was wrong. I hope one day you'll forgive me. I sat there for a long time. I did not reply. I did not feel hate. I did not feel love. I felt calm. She came too late. My heart had already changed. I whispered to myself, I forgive you, but I do not need you in my life. Then I deleted the message. After that night, I felt lighter. It was like a door had closed, and I did not want to open it again. I talked to Layla the next day. She said, I'm proud of you. You didn't stay in pain. You walked through it. You're not the same girl who cried for weeks. You're stronger now. She was right. I was stronger. I looked different. I walked taller. My eyes were not full of fear anymore. I smiled more.
We're gonna keep this out.
I spoke with more care.
I got frozen carrots.
I said yes to small things. A cup of tea with someone new. A short trip to the countryside. A dance class, even if I couldn't dance well. Life was coming back.
Cabbage inside that?
One afternoon, I saw Daniel at the train station.
It's different so.
He stood with a bag in his hand.
Cabbage, that's different.
I stopped walking for a moment.
I was just because I saw
He looked the
carrots in there.
same, but I didn't feel the same. My heart didn't break. My eyes didn't fill with tears. I felt nothing. I turned and walked away. I did not look back. Aiden and I met again that weekend. We went to a small book event. He gave me a flower. It was simple, just a daisy, but it made me smile. He said, "This is for the girl who found her way back." I held the flower close. I said, "Thank you. That means a lot." Later that night, I sat by my window. I looked at the city lights. I thought about the past, about the lies, about the hurt. But I also thought about healing, about growth, about second chances. I opened my old notebook. I turned to the first page. It said, "Betrayed, lone, still here." I took my pen and wrote under those words, "But never again." And finally, free. I closed the book and smiled. My story was not perfect. It was full of pain, but it was also full of truth. I had lost love. I had lost friendship. But I found something better. I found myself. Now, I know how to be alone and not feel lonely. Now, I know how to trust slowly. Now, I know what I deserve. I know that love is not loud. It is quiet. It is kind. It is honest. And when it comes, it does not break you. It builds you. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share.
When too much work bogs you down, Asana helps you handle it. That's because Asana is where humans and AI coordinate work together. AI makes it easy to hand off routine tasks, streamline workflows, and keep everyone focused on the work that matters most. That's how work gets handled. That's Asana. Visit us at asana.com. That's ASANA.com.
Is this correct?
That's right.
No, I'm just saying all this on this side adds up to $75. You say. You have to add up this. No, if we add up this, it's $112.
Here is the savings. You see the savings?
Yeah, no, I see it, yeah.
This, that's not, this is
That's
the
the regular
regular
price,
price.
and this is what we pay.
This is what we pay.
Right.
This is the savings. Here you see $9.
Oh,
Here you see $1. Here you see 66. You see $7. You see $90. You see $22. $12. $2. So this is the total savings. $9. This is your savings.
I get you now, thank you. All right, it's 10, 11, 12, 19, 19. No, I know you're right. Saved $77. Well, 75. You know, I rounded things off, so it's not perfect. It still would have been like $75. Wow. It'd be good today. There's one in there. We'll get that one out. In the drawer. In the drawer. This is. Let me call it. You don't want me to say that, Jason, right? Yeah, shredding it. Okay, you do it. I'm trying to help. I'm gonna shred this. I don't want it like that either. I'm gonna shred it. I'm trying to help. I want to fight. Obviously, this is already cooked, so we don't have to throw this in immediately, right?
Of course, I'm gonna do this so we can have taste.
Okay, but sorry to do this.
Or you just want salt with that, or I don't know how it's gonna taste. It's gonna taste so plain.
Okay. I thought the sauce and the potatoes and everything funny, but if this is what you need to do, work for it. I'm only right behind you supporting you, huh? Just want to help. Come on, baby, ready? Chicken fricassee.
This,
We don't need this liquid, right, Mom? We don't care if it's a little spoon red, right? Because we're gonna cook it more, right?
Yeah, we're gonna cook it.
Okay.
Like this,
I know.
let's I can eat. See if you want celery.
Is there any celery?
Huh?
Man, this is like really hard. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's a little bit frozen, right?
It's too raw. I don't know.
Just put that. Because I was listening to that's the yes. We just
You want fat to get flavor?
yeah, just save it and then I'm just gonna remove it. Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, we can put chicken bouillon in there.
yeah.
What do you want? Yes, yeah. Hold on.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
You're not gonna consider like that.
I know that.
It's not like that.
Yeah, I know. Can't shred this. It's lovely. For you guys, have fun. You're done.
Sige, sige. Mag-out ko. Mag-out ko. Can you check now if it's the correct place? Add everything you want there. Add it. Just add whatever you want. Is it lemon, right? Because when I boil it, I have all spice and everything. Ha. Give me.